The day Chinadu married Ada was the happiest day of his life. But it all ignited the beginning of his destruction, which was soon to unfold. The music was loud as expected for merriment at any huge celebration. The drinks flowed endlessly and assorted, with food of different kind, and laughter filled the air like a blessing that would never fade. His mansion stood tall behind them, white walls glowing under golden lights, cars lined like soldiers in loyalty. People whispered in admirations, with chatters in all manner of tones. Chinadu has made it. He is too blessed to fail. Ada stepped out of the car, radiant in her elegance and appealing smile of fulfillment and satisfaction. Her beauty was quiet but powerful. It was the kind that did not beg for attention yet commanded attention and admiration. When their eyes met, Chinadu felt complete. He held her hand tightly. "I will never let anything happen to you in this life. You are so beautiful for a queen," he whispered. Ada smiled. "I already have everything. I have you, and that is all that matters." That night, they danced under the stars. But somewhere beyond the laughter, something else was watching. Something that did not celebrate. Something that waited. Chinadu's story had always sounded like a miracle to everyone that cares to know. He had started from nothing. No connections, no inheritance, no help, but just hustle. A determined, relentless and unforgiving hustle. Deals that worked when they shouldn't, and sometimes surprises everyone. Opportunities that came from nowhere. Money that multiplied faster than logic could explain. Even he didn't understand it at the beginning, but he didn't question it either. Why would he? Success has a way of silencing curiosity, and money has a way of blinding reasoning. But when his predicament started, it started small and gradually in little counts. A contract failed unexpectedly, and it was definitely unbelievable to all concerned because it was not the kind of outcome that he was used to. Then another failure followed in quick succession. A huge shipment disappeared, and suddenly, a trusted partner vanished with a huge amount of money. Chinadu laughed it off at first because it seemed like a little painless bite. Business has ups and downs after all, he told Ada. But the downs did not stop, and he failed to notice it. Within months, things turned darker. Banks called for an urgent meeting as debts rose. Investments collapsed like houses built on sandy soil. And then came the whispers from people that were observant, and some of those with genuine concern. Since that woman came, things changed. Check your home. Ada began to feel it too, with the pressure of probing eyes. The stares and the silence, which was an obvious proof the direction of the quiet blame. One night, she asked softly, "Do you think I am the problem?" Chinadu turned sharply. "Never say that again. How could you say such a thing? Even if everyone is saying, or implying it, you must never concede it." But even as he spoke, doubt crept in like a thief, and somewhere at the back of his mind, he wondered. But eventually, as properties began to go with debt, his mansion was the last to go. Chinadu walked around his empty living room with his footsteps echoing against walls that once held laughter. Everything was gone. His cars, business and his numerous landed properties, all gone. Ada stood quietly beside him, doing everything she could do to remedy the situation, but nothing worked as she had hoped it would. "We still have each other," she said in consolation. But Chinadu didn't answer in acknowledgement. Because for the first time, he wasn't sure if her words were enough. They were forced to go back to the village with things became so bad, that they were struggling to eat. The village welcomed them with silence, and undertone murmuring. Not the warm silence of peace, but the heavy silence of judgment. People wouldn't stop staring and passing comments. Some pitied him because he was a good man that was generous to the needy, when the going was good for him. But most people mocked him openly. And Ada was avoided like a contagious stigma. Women pulled their children away from her when she came close. She carries bad luck. She has eaten his destiny. Everyone maintained this belief, and even Chinadu's own relatives began to keep their distance too. Ada cried quietly at night, so that he wouldn't hear her cry. But he always did. One day, when everything seemed normal and ordinary in the village, it happened on a dry evening. The sun hung low in the sky at the far west, casting long shadows across the dusty road as Chinadu returned from the farm. His body ached with tiredness. His spirit felt heavier and sluggish. Then he saw him. A boy. He was just a boy, not more than 16 years old. Standing still in the middle of the narrow road, as if waiting for something or someone, but seemed possessed at first. Chinadu frowned. Move. The boy didn't move, but instead, he spoke calmly. You are not poor because of your wife. Chinadu froze. Something about the boy's voice caught his attention. It was too steady and too knowing. What did you say? He asked slowly with interest. The boy stepped closer. You are poor, because you broke a promise. A cold wind seemed to pass through Chinadu's chest. I don't know what you're talking about, Chinadu said. The boy tilted his head and looked to the distant sky as if in retrospect. 20 years ago, at the stream. Chinadu's thinking followed his line of memory. The boy continued, and the woman who gave you biscuits. You were just a little boy of 10. A deep silence fell between them. Terrifying silence. It came back slowly like a nightmare rising from deep water. He was just a naive little boy who went to the stream barefoot to fetch water at the stream, holding a calabash in his hand. And then, an old woman, smiling with her wrinkled face while watching him, approached him and said, You look hungry. Then she gave him his favorite biscuits. As the little Chinadu ate the biscuits with delight, she asked, When you grow up, will you marry me? He laughed. Yes. To him it was nothing but just a joke. A child's careless answer. But the boy on the road shook his head. That was not a joke. That was a covenant. That day, you entered into a covenant of marriage with a marine spirit. That woman is your spiritual wife. She is not human, the boy continued. She is a marine spirit. Chinadu staggered back in despair. No, that's not possible. She has been with you all along in everything you do and everywhere you went. When you succeeded, it was because she made it happen. When you married another woman, your innocent wife. The boy's eyes darkened. She became angry and took back everything from you. That night, Chinadu could not sleep. He watched Ada with pity and was very sorry for her. A woman who had endured everything with him and surprisingly agreed to abandon her life and everything and come back with him to the village. As if that was not enough, she became the woman who was blamed for everything. And for the first time, he saw the truth. I have wronged you, my love, he whispered. Ada looked confused. What do you mean, babe? But he had no right words for a good explanation. Only guilt, and then the dream came again. But this time, it was different. It was clear to him. It was terrifying as he saw himself standing at the stream. The water was dark and still. And then she rose from the still water. The same old woman, but she suddenly transformed gradually. She was no longer weak but younger. Her eyes glowed with something ancient and scary. You promised me, she said. Her voice echoed like thunder underwater. You belong to me, and you are mine. The following day, the boy returned to Chinadu as promised. There is a way to break it, he said. But it will not be easy. What must I do? I am ready to do anything. Please tell me, what must I do? Chinadu asked him desperately. The boy hesitated, then spoke. To break the covenant, something must be given in exchange. What kind of sacrifice are we looking at? Please tell me, Chinadu asked. The boy looked at him, deeply. Something she values. They both paused and allowed some silence between them. Then the truth hit him. Ada. Chinadu broke down. No, I can't. Ada, standing behind, had heard everything. Tears streamed down her face. So, I am the price? The sacrificial lamb for what I don't even know about? She whispered. Chinadu turned and looked at her. No, never. But the boy's voice cut through. If nothing is done, she will take him anyway. If it is me she wants, what does she want with me? Ada asked. She was resolved to end this. Whether good or bad, she needed to end it. One thing that Ada had and held strongly in her favor, she had strong faith in God. She knew deep in her heart that it's only God that had the final say to the outcome. As the truth had already been revealed, the storm came sooner than expected, without warning. Thunder roared with flashes of lightning in the dark sky. The river swelled, rising with dangerous waves. The boy stood at the edge, and was ready for the battle ahead. "It ends tonight," he said reassuringly to himself and whoever could hear him. The water began to move, and then she appeared. This time she did not look old and she did not look weak, but powerful, and beautiful in a terrifying way. "I do not want your wealth," she said. "I do not want your life." She smiled slowly. "I want what you denied me. A child." Her laughter cracked up thunderously across the dark sky. And the boy who was battle-ready stepped forward. "For now, all I can tell you is, the village says that night changed everything. Some say Chinadu survived. Some say he didn't. But one thing is certain. No one in that village eats food from strangers at the river anymore. Because some promises never die." What about Ada? Do you really want to know about Ada? Subscribe to the channel and find out. You can also like the video and drop your comment. See you in the next.